I'm going to show you how to buy a home in Toronto and save thousands, possibly tens of thousands of dollars doing it. This is how my team and I approach house hunting with our clients, and I've never shown this publicly before. But if you follow these tips, you will put yourself in a much better position than 99% of buyers, and I'm not exaggerating. So we'll start with the most popular question, which is usually, when should you buy? Is there a season of the year where prices are the lowest when you can get a great deal? And we often hear, wait for the spring because of the amount of inventory that comes out. But in fact, some of the best buying opportunities happen when fewer people are watching. Late fall, early winter, even off-peak months. And so, statistically speaking, over the past 20 years, the cheapest sold prices are in November and December, and then July, which is midsummer. The theory here is that people vacation, enjoying life, and so there's a mini pullback. Now, most people think it's the winter months like January and February, and yes, those could be good, but what typically happens is a bunch of buyers actually start their home searches in the new year. It's kind of like gym memberships increasing in January. People start to take action on their big goal or resolution of the year. So if timing doesn't matter and you can start a bit earlier, typically hitting November, December has been the smart strategy over the last 20 years. Now, it's also because sellers who list late in the year, they often have true motivation, right? But timing is not everything. The power play is when you pair timing with smart offers, negotiation, and due diligence, which is what we're going to move on to next. Because one of the most overlooked battlegrounds in your buying power is your mortgage. And the headline posted rate you see on bank websites is often not the rate you can get. But your bank mortgage agent won't fight for a lower rate if you don't ask. So you can see in this graph, we are seeing a fluctuation right now in the big banks of 0.29% to 0.48% right now, which is a huge gap. So don't leave money on the table. Possibly shop around once you've bought a home before you close, and make sure that you're getting the best mortgage rate. Mortgage agents and banks, they will buy down your interest rate at times as well to secure your business. So I help our clients with these discussions if they ask as well. Now, let's talk strategy regarding finding great properties. So we're talking bank sales, estate sales, high days on market homes, vacant homes, because these sellers might be more motivated to sell, right? Which is true. And so we set up our clients to receive these listings. But you have to be careful with bank sales, as they are the most risky when it comes to the condition of the property. Sometimes they've not been taken care of as well. So due diligence is required and a very thorough home inspection is needed. Now, most bank sales will always be in as-is condition, meaning you're not going to get any warranties about electrical, plumbing, or even if the appliances will work. Unlike the protection you could typically get with a normal resale purchase. Estate sales, sometimes they're a bit more outdated, but both of these property types bring good value, possibly. Now, estate sales are actually usually very easy negotiations to get more significant discounts because the person in charge of the sale usually never made payments on the home. And they're looking at the sale price where they'll be inheriting a lot of free money. So if you fall in love with an estate sale, it's not the worst thing to happen. So now let's shift to negotiation strategies, because the first thing, and many people don't even think about this, is when you see homes. So you see many people only view homes on weekends when it's convenient for them. But this is also when the number of showings is at its highest. So if you see a home on the weekend, like most people do, and you fall in love, well, you're more likely to face competition, which can shift the whole negotiation and the offer amounts. So I recommend all of our clients, if possible, to view homes during the week as well, because if you find that dream home, you will have a much better opportunity to avoid competition, and you can get it for a much lower sold price. You have more leverage, and it can save you anywhere from $5,000 to $50,000 in negotiations. Now, what if you see a home and you like it? Well, I used to manage a real estate brokerage, And everyone would join us, and they would all immediately call the listing agent once their buyer was interested in the home. And they would say, literally,
"My buyer is very interested." And as you can imagine, that's a huge mistake.
Because if I'm the listing agent and I know you love the home, I'm going to extract as much money as possible from you, and I'm going to act differently and feel like I'm in control if I'm the listing agent in that scenario. So you don't want to allow your realtor to make that kind of call. You have them call and ask if there are any registered offers. Why is the seller moving? Right? We're trying to find leverage. Is there anything important other than money to the seller? And lastly, we are considering several properties, but we were curious if your client was flexible on price, because maybe that could change things. You see, you don't want to give any information to the seller or the listing agent, as just like the police would do, anything you say can and will be used against you. So you would be shocked at what listing agents will give up information-wise if you ask and act like they should convince you to bring an offer. And you as a buyer should have someone who's going to take advantage of those scenarios. Now, you also want to attach a personal letter to your offers, which shares a little bit about you, why you like the home, and that you're thankful for them considering the offer. Now, we do this because if we can relate to the seller, right, then we're not just a number on an offer. So homes are very sentimental for many. So you being likable, relatable, kind, it can go a very long way in gaining an edge in a multiple offer scenario or getting a bigger discount in negotiations because they like the home going to you. So a year ago, I had a sale where we only got the property because of our letter. The seller was a widow moving into a retirement home, and he had lived the best years of his life in that home. It was where he raised a family. It's where he had a loving wife there. And for him, it was very important in the end that it went to a young family who would enjoy the home just like he did. The listing agent actually told me that he cried reading our letter and told his agent, make it work with them, right? And avoid the other two offers. So yeah, sometimes it can seem cheesy, but it truly works. Not always, but it has an impact around 40 to 50% of the deals we do, and the listing agents mention it to us after. Now, another part that is key for getting a lower purchase price is the inspection. You see, sometimes you can't get the initial purchase price you would hope for in the initial negotiation. So you get a home inspection. If the home is terrific, that's amazing. You're probably happy moving forward. But if you find a few issues, whether serious or small, you can always leverage this to get further discount. And then there's absolutely zero downside to trying this as well, because the seller either accepts your terms, right, and negotiates with you more, or you can still go forward with the initial agreement and waive your condition, right? So my job when working with buyers is to get them the lowest possible price. And that's what we do. At any stage, if we can take advantage of the scenario and finally get you leverage, we will. Our team also provides every buyer who works with us with a free 3-month home systems and appliance warranty, which protects you when you move in. So like if an appliance breaks or a key home system needs fixing or replacement, you are covered up to $15,000. And we do this because even though you want to trust the seller that they will not hide any issues from us or everything's in working order, it's all an agreement in Ontario, these offers, on good faith in the end, right? And so we don't want you to be out of pocket on expenses or needing to sue the seller after. So this gives you more protection, which we're happy to provide. Now, you also need to be mindful of the land transfer tax, which is significant. So in Ontario, there's a provincial land transfer tax, and in Toronto, there's a municipal land transfer tax. As if we weren't taxed enough as it is, you need to pay a tax just for the right to buy a home. So buying just outside this map boundary that you'll see on the screen, you could save thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars. Now, First-time buyers do get a rebate. Your lawyer actually handles that in closing, so you don't need to pay the full amount, just the amount that you owe. Now, if you're serious about buying in the GTA, whether next month or in 2026, start applying these strategies. Don't necessarily wait for the market to hand you a perfect moment. Create your own edge. You can't take advantage of a great opportunity without actually going out there and making attempts at it. If you would like my team and my help, book a chat with me through the link in this video description at torontopropertyfinders.ca/contact. We've helped over 250 families move across the Greater Toronto Area, and they'd be happy to learn more about you and your goals. If you would like, in the description, I have this as a guide with a bunch of other tips in there, and you can download that too for free. Until next time, take care.